So speaking personally, it's nice to be back here. As in, nice to be back in the with the Buddhist Society's basic meditation class. And welcome everybody. I mean, particularly if you're new to the class. I mean, already I've sort of checked out the names, and there are quite a few old friends who've it couldn't have been that bad last time because you've come back. But it's good to see some I guess some newcomers here. And as I say, I hope you've had a great a good enough. That's a good phrase, isn't it? Never let the best be the enemy of the good. A good enough break over the summer, whatever that means. And in particular these days, it means I hope you and your friends and family, you've all kept in touch and nobody's had too many problems and keeping reasonably healthy and all of that, all the usual sort of things. And as I say, it's good to have everybody back. For the benefit in particular of those of us who haven't been to this class before. First of all, by the way, can I just ask, before, when I was chatting to Wongdu and Odin and Lavinia before you came in, and there was a bit of distortion on the sound. I'm just going to see, I can't very well see everybody. Can anybody indicate, is anybody having real problems with the sound? Everybody's looking as if they're, or you could put it in chat. I mean, I'm not sure I can do a lot about it, but I'm going to assume you can probably just about tolerate the sound quality. Okay, thank you very much. Let me say a little bit about what might be happening tonight. First of all, this is called the basic meditation class, and everybody thinks basic is for, total beginners, and it is for total beginners. But I have to say that everybody should approach a period of meditation as a total beginner. The future is unknowable. Even if you've been to this class for decades, you know what's going to happen this time. Or rather, we have expectations. We know what they can be like. So it's a good idea, actually, not to have any expectations about this class. But let me, put a few minds at rest and say something like this. In the first session, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that, I'll give a bit of guidance, just sort of basic tips on this mindfulness practice, really for people who are complete beginners. And those of you, so I should be suggesting various things we do, a bit about posture, a bit about actual method, maybe the breath or something like that. And those of you who have heard it a zillion times before can ignore everything I say. And those of you who are doing it a different way, but it works for you, you keep doing your way, right? I'm not saying this is not orthodox meditation. This is my meditation and your meditation. And particularly people who've been on the scene for a while, we've all got our little nuances in the way we do things. So just remember that. I'm going to be saying things I personally have found helpful. And you're welcome to take it or leave it. And then after a bit of meditation, mainly guided meditation, we'll have a little pause, stretch, and I've got a couple of ideas I might share with you, a little bit of thought. And then in the second half, I'll keep quite quiet. The difference, if you like, between the first bit and the second bit is I'm sort of assuming we're it's always good to sort of go through basic bits and pieces to begin with. In fact, what I should be doing in the first 25 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, is doing really nothing more than the suggestions you would receive if you went to, I think, any other mindfulness class, secular or whatever. Probably the same sort of things about, the breath or the body or all that sort of stuff. In part two, it's going to be more obvious that this is taking place at the Buddhist Society. You can see a Buddha image there, and so I might enhance a little bit the specifically Buddhist, or if you like, spiritual aspects of mindfulness practice. That's what I usually try and do, to provide something for everybody, something for people who are, complete beginners, of course, and then for those of us who have been doing this for a while, So that's what I'm planning to do. And then, for the sake of argument, 7:35, something like that, we'll have questions and answers, okay? At the moment, everybody is on mute. I think that's a good idea, getting settled. When we get to questions and answers, I'm going to ask everybody to be unmuted, and then feel free to ask questions, either speaking in a normal way or sending it by chat. And we'll try and pick up chat messages. I've got Wong in the background who will field anything that I miss there. So I hope that's okay. And if when we're just sitting here, like little Buddha images, something comes to mind, I won't be offended if you ping something through in chat. Particularly if it's something like, I can't hear you or whatever. Or I can hear you, too much of you. I don't mind. So, to work. So here we are, we've settled down. And we're going to cultivate something called mindfulness, key part of Buddha's Eightfold path. Right? What mindfulness is, everybody's got their own ideas about that. And I'm going to be saying more about that in the break, I think. But for me, mindfulness is something we do, actually, right? And it's developing relaxed awareness, the quality of noticing, of knowing, of noticing, but not attaching. Those of us who are Buddhists will know that attachment is a big, big problem. So the idea is to develop this quality of knowing what's going on, particularly in here, but not attaching to it. So relaxed awareness, noticing and letting go. And noticing and letting go, to me, implies something about posture. To notice something, I think, requires us to adopt an alert posture. And there again, everybody here, can work out what alert means. Right? So I'm sitting on a chair, and I'm not leaning back against the chair. Right? But that's because it suits me to do so. I expect a lot of you are sitting on the floor. That's great. That's fantastic. Maybe some of you are standing up. That's quite okay too. But you're alert, okay? But not stressed out. That's the relaxed bit. This is a very sneaky, difficult, in a way, it's quite a difficult practice. Alert, upright posture. Right? Relaxed, collapse, go to sleep. Got to strike a balance. So it's a posture which is alert, but it's not ramrod straight. Ideally, we shouldn't be using any sort of muscles to hold the body up. To begin with, years and years ago, when I got into this meditation practice, I used to think it was a form of almost physical torture. But that's because I wasn't sitting in a balanced way. So if you're sitting on a bench or on a cushion on a chair, try and get it so that, in particular, my hint is get your hips or your backside above your knees, whether you're sitting on the floor or on a chair, because somehow that tilts the pelvis and somehow that holds the body up with absolutely zero effort at all. It's an alert, but pretty relaxed posture, but quite relaxed posture, you see. Alert, relaxed posture. And everybody's come here because, you're kind of interested in what all this is about. An attitude of curiosity is enormously helpful. What's all this about? Let's discover what this is about. Okay, have a look at this. It's that sort of attitude. So Buddhism is sort of a come and see practice. It's not believe this, believe what I tell you. right? It's not a question of believing in the doctrine at all, whatever the doctrine is. It's just one of exploration, curiosity. Oh, it's like this. Oh, it's like this. It's this sort of attitude. So an open-minded practice, and this mindfulness practice is mind-opening as well. So, no great preconceptions. Let's give this a whirl, this sort of attitude. Let's have a look at this. Alert posture, hands, just park them somewhere, out of the way. You know, some of us are kind of compulsive sort of fidgeters. And actually that takes up a lot of energy. Just put them somewhere out of the way. And just be aware of that tendency, perhaps to move, to fidget. I don't think we have to do that. I mean, we might have some neurological condition which makes it inevitable. Okay, that's the way things are. Right? But on the whole, we can just sort of, not fidget, relax, park your hands in your lap, one on top of the other, whatever, out of the way. Eyes, less chance of going to sleep if we keep the eyes open or half open. I prefer to close my eyes because the name of the game really is turning the attention inwards. And now I've been here, I've looked at the nice image on the screen, I've seen folks here, I've looked around the room, I'm looking out of my window now, around the study here. Okay, close the eyes. I've done all of that. And there again, just as I want us to be aware of the tendency to move, I want us to be aware of the tendency to go looking for stuff. All I want to do is just suggest we turn the attention inwards by closing, or certainly half closing, the eyes. They talk about the first foundation of mindfulness is mindfulness of the body. Now we can link that with the notion of alert and relaxed posture. So I really like to begin my practice just bringing attention to the body and there's a little bit of investigation. How does the body feel? Not what I think about the body. We've all got opinions about that. Could we just park that and just, how's the body feeling? And that could be sort of feeling tired or full of energy or whatever. That's okay. But why don't we drill down a little bit and become aware of sensations in the body, of ordinary, bog standard physical sensations, like the feeling of sitting. Right? You can't miss it. Right? Bring the attention, just note, in other words, to the feeling of sitting on a cushion, the chair, the meditation bench, the point of contact between backside and cushion. And you can't miss it. We just notice the feeling of sitting. And most of the time we sit down. At lunchtime today, I sat down, and actually I was at somebody else's house. I was a bit aware of sitting, in a slightly uncomfortable chair, but on the whole, you're focusing on eating. Right? But what's it like to sit? What's the feeling of sitting? Where are the other big sensations that you can't miss? Now, for those of us sitting on the floor, wow, all that, the legs, lower legs and shins and whatnot, they're touching something or other, the floor. There's a stretch probably over the knees. And the sensations in the feet, and those of us sitting on a chair, I suggest have our feet on the floor. So you put the attention on the soles of the feet. Okay? The feet, the legs, the knees. Where else do we notice things in such a way we can't miss? How about the feeling in the belly of breathing? It's not a question of controlling the breath. Can't miss the feeling there. Or if we've just had a bite to eat, digestion feelings. Or if we haven't eaten, rumbling. Be aware of that. You can't miss it. And what about the hands? Hands are mega sensitive, aren't they? They're warm, they're clammy. And my hands and your hands are touching something, maybe each other, maybe something else. A perfectly good meditation practice is to spend half an hour with the attention on the palm of one hand. Just noticing sensation. Just notice the general feeling of what the hands are doing. And another significant place where there might be sensation is in the shoulders. You know, maybe our shoulders are up around our ears because it's been that kind of a day. And nobody's saying it shouldn't be like that. There are causes and conditions which give us stress and anxiety. And they manifest in the body. Actually, when we know about it, maybe we could do something about it if we want to. So if you notice some stress which pick up in tightness in the shoulders, and we want to do something about it, we can just breathe out and relax. Notice, relax and alert. When we do something like that, you know, you notice tension in the shoulders and you relax. Right? Notice and relax. If we want to. If we want to. And then we can get, I've just been looking at these quite refined these quite gross sensations. And it's fun to do something totally different. What's the crown of your head, the top of the head, feel like? And this is not an opinion. It's not me thinking about bald spot or anything like that. Is there any sensation up there at all? Notice, this is quite interesting, paying attention to the feeling of no feeling. Pretty refined, that. Around the scalp, the hair, and the forehead. Are we trying too hard? We don't have to try too hard. If you want to try too hard, be my guest, get a headache. But you don't need to do that. Relax the forehead, or notice that tendency not to. Right? Anything around the ears at all, the temple, the ears. The surface of the face, the skin of the face. If you're in a warm room, there's warmth, isn't there? There's warmth. Around the eyes. If the eyes are closed, you notice the feeling of the eyes being closed. That's interesting, isn't it? The touch of the eyelids, one on the other, the left eye, the right eye, and the sensations around the eyes. Down to the nose, can we feel the breath on the nostrils? Down to the mouth. Suggestion is the mouth closed, the lips are touching, but maybe the jaw's not tense. And there again, if the jaw is tense, okay, would we like to relax the jaw? Now we know it's tense. Relax the jaw. Sensation within the mouth itself, saliva, the tongue touching something. Down to the neck, and run the attention down the spine. Any sensations there around the scapula, shoulder blades, touch of our clothing, down the spine. Get to the small of the back. If it helps, tuck it in a little bit. That opens up the chest. Going all the way down to the tailbone and the feeling of sitting again. Go up to the front of the body, up to the top of the body, up to the shoulders again. What about the arms? Let's have a look at the arms. Sensations in the arms. Take the left arm, for example. Any sensations around the shoulder at all, the left arm? How about the left armpit? We often ignore the left armpit. Down the upper arm, the bicep. Can we feel our clothing? Shirt there. Warmth on the skin. The elbow, around the elbow. When you really notice the elbow, when we bang it on something. How's the elbow? Down to the forearm, and the wrist, and the left hand. You can run the attention around the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, sensations in the fingers. Back up the left arm, wrist, elbow, armpit, up to the top. Now run the attention across the collarbone. You know, that's the yoke bit that goes across the front, from the left shoulder to the right. When we do that, I think that's quite helpful, because I tend to slump forward, particularly if I'm doing a lot of desk work. So that can be quite constricted. When you notice that, yeah, you can sort of open up a bit there if you want to. Down to the right arm, right shoulder, right armpit, the upper arm, warmth, clothing touching, right elbow, down the forearm, the wrist, the right hand. Any sensations there? Got a bit of arthritis? Just notice that. Oh, it feels like that. Down to the right hand, the back of the hand, the palm of the hand, the fingers. Back up again. Up the right arm, up to the shoulder, across to the front of the body, the trunk of the body. Be aware of the chest. Then you can feel a number of things. Often it's the touch of the clothing on the chest. As we move, as we breathe in and out, the rib cage expands and contracts. Notice that. In breath, out breath. And we're not controlling the breath. The breath gets on and does its thing. And we're just noticing what it feels like to breathe. And if we're really into this practice, then even dive inside the chest. Just feel the pulse in there. The heartbeat. And just notice any tendency which we might have to comment on the heartbeat. Down into the abdomen. Feeling the rise and fall of the belly, the pressure of the waistband. Into the pelvis, the groin area. Feeling of sitting again, of course. Weight of the body down there. Let's have a look at the left leg. Go to the left hip. There again. Maybe some discomfort, maybe not. Down the upper part, the thigh, the left leg. Sensations? Any sensations? No sensations. Down to the knee. If we're sitting on the floor, probably quite a lot going on there. Down the left foot, the lower part of the left leg, the calf, the shin. Down to the left foot, starting at the Achilles area and around the ankle, ball of the foot, arch of the foot, toes, feel the toes, back of the foot, the left foot. Up we go past the ankle, to the left knee, the left thigh, to the left hip, across the pelvis, to the right hip. Okay, moving the attention down, sweeping the attention down, scanning the body, down to the left, the right knee, the right knee. Sensations in the right knee. And just notice. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Just leave it like that. A lot of this will be neutral sensations or no sensations. Down to the right shin, calf, ankle, heel, right arch of the foot, ball of the foot, toes to the top, all the way back up, all the way up the body. Through the trunk of the body. There we go. That's how the body feels today. Shorn of all kind of opinions, right, about all these things we obsess about, appearance, age, gender, ethnicity, No, that's all, if you like, icing on the cake. I'm interested in the cake, the simplicity of the cake, a mass of sensations. How's the mood tonight? How's the mood? Just be aware of what we've brought to the party tonight. Bright, dull, happy, depressed. All of this is workable. None of this means we can't meditate, by the way. And it's very helpful to meditate when we don't feel like meditating. Just notice the mood. It's like this. And just as we accepted the body as it is, we're accepting the mood tonight, the mind tonight, just as it is. You know, calm, peaceful, wacky, whatever. And now it's very helpful to pick up a meditation object. And an absolutely safe, secure, standard one. I never heard any problems about it. The Buddha recommended it for use by anybody. It's just the feeling of breathing. Feeling of breathing. In breath, out breath. And if you're asking where, you can answer that yourself. Rise and fall of the abdomen. Touch of the breath on the nostrils. Of the upper lip. I'll talk about the breath on the nostrils because that happens to be what I do, but that's just me. Feeling the breath on the nostrils. Just being aware of breathing in and breathing out. In. Just make a little mental note if it helps. In. Don't control it. Probably no two breaths are the same. Note the beginning of an in-breath, beginning of an out-breath, beginning of an in-breath and the end of an in-breath, beginning of an out-breath, the end of an out-breath. Spend a moment or two paying attention to the breath, the feeling of breathing, or of course any other meditation object you're used to working with, just something to calm the mind and stabilize the mind. The point about the breath, terribly simple, right? But quite a challenge, isn't it, really? The lovely thing about the breath is extremely calming. You can go on a meditation retreat and get blissed out. Paying attention to the rhythm of the breath is lovely. But the downside is it's so darn calming that it's boring and the monkey mind wants to wander. So just notice that tendency. That's the breath, that's the meditation object. And then, miraculously, we can pay attention to the attention. And watch the mind wandering. Notice thinking. Worrying, fantasizing, planning, having opinions about meditation. How's the time going? Once we notice that, just intercept it. And then, amazingly, we have some power over what's happening there because we can choose to let go of thinking and deliberately point the attention back to the feeling of the breath. It requires a lot of patience, noticing, letting go, time and time again. And gradually, things may calm down a little bit. So for a few moments now, I'll be quiet, see how we get on. One last word. You're not trying to stop thinking. Thinking happens because there are causes and conditions which make us think. If we can learn to let go of the causes and conditions which make us think, then thinking will on its own gradually subside. Notice it, letting go, back to the meditation object. relax, stand up. And you notice the most difficult part of what we've been doing is the letting go bit. It's quite easy to notice what's going on, all the sights and sounds and smells and tastes and thoughts, but to sort of step back from that, to deliberately let go of it, pretty difficult, but it's an awfully useful skill, isn't it? That ability to switch off, particularly, if we're giving ourselves a bad time at night, stuff pops into our heads. Great if we could let go of it. This is a very useful, if you like, a very useful therapeutic skill apart from anything else. So what? I guess my summer's been nothing special, probably rather like everybody else's. But about 3 weeks ago, something which was very special happened for me, and I got to spend a good hour chatting to Ajahn Subhaddo. If you've been on the Dharma scene for quite a while, you'll know all about Ajahn Subhaddo. How lovely it is to see somebody you haven't seen for actually probably 2 years, 2.5 years. And in particular, when you see somebody to whom you owe a lot, you really feel good about. And it was just wonderful to spend some time and really just have a chat. And as we were going, he gave me some books, but he also gave me a little lapel pin, which just for you tonight I'm wearing, but you can't see it. And the lapel pin says, it's this little badge, and it says, "It's like this. It's like this." And I looked at that and I thought, damn it, that's good. That is really cool. It's like this. And I thought, but that's what mindfulness is all about. It's like this, There's this immediacy, this present moment. It's like this. And so that's kind of, when people say, what's mindfulness like? What's mindfulness like? Well, it's like this. And at one level, if you're new to mindfulness and you say, what's mindfulness like? The answer is, well, it's something we do. I mean, we've done it in part one, right? It's something we do. We sort of develop supporting conditions to calm the mind down, to develop a bit of peace and quiet, to declutter the mind, a bit of focus. And the way that it comes about is by cultivating, developing supportive conditions, like a helpful posture, like getting the time and place right, and then technique, which can be mindfulness of the breath, scanning the body, right? Practicing a mantra or using mala beads, rosary beads. These are all techniques. It's something one does. What's mindfulness like? Well, it's got a doing component to it, hasn't it? We do something. We put a bit of time on the side, do some meditation, set the body up, and pick up a technique and use that. And the purpose of it, is to, as I say, is the next step, as it were, to calm the mind down, to declutter the mind a little bit. So then, when that's happened, what's mindfulness like? We don't stop being mindful there. But it's more like we don't have to do so much because we've set the conditions up and things will happen. So mindfulness is more like, being there when things happen. Like, our awareness becomes more relaxed. Our relaxation becomes more aware. We become more open to what's going on right now, in the present moment. The emphasis is on right now. It's like this here and now, as it is, here and now. So it's not saying that thoughts and emotions and feelings and all the rest of it disappear. They're just stuff that appears here and now. We've calmed things down a bit. The background has calmed down a little bit. So mindfulness then is just being here and aware and relaxed while thoughts and feelings, and ideas and all the rest of it, smells and tastes, all the 6 senses, are still there, you know. We're not suppressing anything, but the position is one of, okay, it's like this. It's like this. And if we you know, if we can attach to it or not, and the desire to attach to it is something else we can notice, or to identify with it, that's something else we can notice. So mindfulness is like this. So we pick up some techniques, and that helps. And then mindfulness is like this in the sense that it's more like something happens to us. Things calm down, we become more aware of what's going on in the present moment. We have, you know, if we set the conditions up, that will happen. That will happen. And then, you know, what's mindfulness like after that? What's mindfulness like after that? When we can sit back a little bit and say, oh yes, that's what's going on. And mindfulness becomes something, I think it's a shift, a bit of a shift. From instead of somebody doing something, you know, you and I came along tonight, we set the body up, we followed the breath, or scanned the body, or whatever. Instead of someone doing something, or somebody, you know, engaging with thoughts and feelings and all the rest of it, letting go of it, the position becomes more of, it's like knowing. It's a knowing practice. And it's not me knowing, it's just knowing. Yeah, because the me bit, the I am doing this, is just another thought or perception that goes into the mind and goes out of the mind. So the what's mindfulness like, you know, in part two, as it were, of this practice, is more like just knowing, seeing, you know, Buddhists talk about seeing the way things really are. It's like this. How are things right now? What's the true nature of things? It's like this. It's just as presented to us. Whether whether what happens is pleasant or unpleasant, you know, past and future thoughts come and go. It's just like that. Everything's impermanent. We just sit back. We don't have to do anything. It's like the doing is done. The mind is open, expansive, and we're realizing, I think, the natural state of the mind, of just being conscious, of just being aware. So mindfulness goes from, you know, something we consciously do to being, I was going to say, being aware of consciousness, to being consciousness itself. Let's say that. Just being conscious, being aware. There you go. That's enough talk. Let's sit for a bit now. Okay? So compose the body again. Don't forget, questions and comments are very welcome. But anyway, so compose the body again, set things up, and don't forget, for those who want to do something, there's plenty to do. Now, I always begin a period of meditation myself by settling down, scanning the body. I find that terribly useful. Sweeping the body, scanning the body, it's all the same thing. Checking out the mood, so I know where I'm coming from. You know, I'm bringing in memories from the day, plans for tomorrow, all this stuff. Oh yeah, that's what's going on. So I know where we are. Okay. And then I pick up a meditation object. There are plenty of them, but maybe let's say the breath. That's a little anchor there, you see. It's a little anchor. So then there's that base, that anchor, and the attention will wander. It will wander. It's not a fault. That's a part of being human. But the other part of being human is we can pay attention to the attention. That's very clever stuff. So we're aware what the attention is doing, where the attention has gone. Well, we know that. And then we get to the difficult bit, because the attention will happily wander from one thought to another thought, from one feeling to another thought, emotion. And we just sort of intercept it. We just, not brutally, it's like, oh, there we go again. That's my favorite phrase. Oh, there we go again. And when we notice that, we can just deliberately let go of it, not push it away, but point the attention back to the meditation object. Time and time again. Time and time again. And then gradually things, perhaps, not tonight necessarily, but maybe things just settle back down. We become more just aware, more aware, just noticing. Noticing, letting go, relaxed awareness, and then just knowing. And there again, don't forget the body. Once in a while you might want to just scan it, check for any slumping or tightening up, do something about it. Back to the meditation object.
Colin, you're muted. We can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself.
There we go. I think that's probably better. Thanks, Wongdu. Yeah, I was just saying that the society offers an awful lot of classes in the different traditions, but in particular, plenty of opportunities to meditate in a group. And so there are lunchtime meditation classes on Mondays and Fridays, and there's another meditation session on most Sundays as well, I think. And they're open to everybody. You don't have to book, just turn up. And typically they last for about 40 or 45 minutes, so much shorter than this one. But it's nice to know they're there. As far as this class goes, we're continuing. We're continuing on not me, but the Buddhist Society says we're going to continue on Zoom through September, certainly, and just to see how things pan out, because nobody knows the position about opening up in practice. We're going to keep going with Zoom, and I'm very pleased about that, all the way through September. And then as far as this class goes, I'll be sitting in the hot seat next week, but the week after that we are visited by our good friend Ajahn Subhaddo, a former monk who now lives in Spain. So he'll be teaching the class. Lots of experience there. And I think that's all I want to say. I'm just looking at right. Wongdu, can you unmute everybody, please? Is everybody unmuted who wants to unmute? Wongdu?
Yes, they can unmute now.
Right. So please, any questions or discussion? Oh, we seem to have got the wheel of life. There we go. Any questions or discussion topics or anything like that? I'll try and help. As I say, I'm just sort of looking. Oh, gallery view. Let's try that. There we go. Either just kind of where's gallery view gone? Either just sort of ask in a normal way, or send through something on chat, because I think I'm getting chat messages now. For example, Wongdu's just wrote, I've just picked up one from Wongdu, which is, do you want to ring the gong? I had no idea I was muted, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, please go ahead. Anything to talk about?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your wonderful teaching. My question is about if we use the breath as our meditation object, do you recommend focusing on the out breath or the in breath or all of the breath? And also, as a kind of corollary to that question, do you count the breath or just observe it?
Okay. Well, thank you for coming. The breath. Well, you choose. First of all, on counting the breath, if my mind is really, really scatty, I mean, look, it's a difficult meditation because it's so refined and it's non-stimulating. Count along with the breath. And when I say that, I guess most people know what I mean, but it would be something like in and out 1, in, 2, 3, up to 10. And when I get to 10, you go back to 1, 2. Now, the rules of the game are when, not if, but when we lose track, after 3 or 4 or 7 or 8, or even 9, you go back to the beginning again, you see. And there again, it doesn't matter whether we do the count on the in-breath, the out-breath, or whatever, right? The count just gives a bit more point, a bit more focus for the attention. That's all there for. Do we use particularly the in-breath or the out-breath? To tell you the truth, there again, everybody here is their own teacher, and we have to work that sort of thing out for ourselves. Personally, when I'm using the breath, my object is, but don't forget, my mind wanders too. My object is to pay attention to the feeling of the breath all the way through, from the beginning, the middle, the end of an inner breath. And it can be long or short. I have no control over this. And you notice the end of an in-breath, and maybe there's a gap. I don't know, but notice, and then you switch, like beginning of an out-breath, middle, end of an out-breath. And it's like, there are times, perhaps, when we might want to pay attention to one bit of it, like the beginning or the end of an in-breath or an out-breath, because the mind just kind of wanders off. You just miss a beat, that kind of thing. So if it helps, but pay particular attention to beginnings, or particular attention to endings. But please work that out for us. And then again, don't try and control things too much. I remember on one retreat or something, it was like, for some reason, we Buddhists get into all sorts of funny things about impermanence and change, and things end. So on one retreat, I put a lot of effort into just watching the ending of an out-breath. And after a while, my body told me it was a good idea to start breathing in. So you're not trying to do anything too eccentric, but that's my advice. I mean, as I say, I try and pay attention to the flow of the breath, the total rhythm of the breath. But there again, if I'm all over the place, counting's very good. And if I find myself, I'm missing something, a bit of it, I'll give more attention to it. But after a while, one just sort of, in my experience, you just kind of sink into doing it, actually. You do it. I hope that makes some kind of sense, some sort of help.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just now, before anybody asks anything.
Colin, are you there, Colin?
I'm there.
Are you there, Colin?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm there. Do you know the Kamadharma?
Oh yeah, I was talking to him the other day. Yeah.
You do. My name's Brian. I haven't heard from him for so long. I'm trying to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
I've known him for 38 years.
Yeah.
My name's Brian Francis.
Well, what's stopping you getting in touch with him, Brian?
Well, I was trying to phone him, but there's no connection whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Temporary closed for some reason. I'm sorry to interrupt your meditation.
No. That's what I'm here for.
I've been a Buddhist for many years, for 38 years.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like, he's at the Forest Hermitage. I mean, you obviously got.
I know that.
You obviously.
I studied there for some time.
Sure. So you can.
I've been at Garika there for a while, not long, but for some time.
So you've obviously got access to going online, haven't you?
Yeah? Yes, I have, but I can't seem to get any information whatsoever. It seems to be temporarily closed for some reason.
Well, physically, the monastery, because of COVID, he's been very careful about having visitors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's there at the end of a phone. I mean, I have his number somewhere, but not on my person right now.
No.
Well, but if you Google the Forest Hermitage, or if you Google Kemadamo,
I've done that and entered the phone number.
But
there's no reply on the phone number.
Well, what I'm suggesting is maybe he's changed his phone number. Okay.
He could have done, yes, but there's nothing on the internet about that.
Well, can you not send him an email, Brian?
Well, I haven't spoken to him for a while. I don't think he's quite happy with me at the moment.
I'm sure.
I'm not a favourite of the Lung Four, but he's a great. Yeah, well, you know, but yeah, there we go. So it's another story, but you know.
Oh, well, look. I mean, I'm an Anglican with I'm a Buddhist prison chaplain, and so I'm in touch. Very easy. Look, you may not be his favourite, but probably he'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
You get a okay.
Yes.
I mean, his email address is something like. I'll tell you what. It's something like.
I know it. I know his email address. I know everything, but I can't access his the Forest Hermitage. It says temporary closed on the Forest Hermitage website.
Right. Well, pop him an email. Go on.
Yeah, I suppose I would, but when he hears from me, he thinks something's going to happen. You know, I've served long sentences in prison, so
Right.
you know.
Well, I'm sure he'd love to hear from you, Brian. Okay. Pop him an email. Okay. Any other questions, discussion? I'm looking at other questions that actually have popped up in chat. So let's deal with this one. Right, this is one from Sophie. My question is, how do I know that I'm making progress on my spiritual path? Well, other people will tell you. First of all, we've got a bit of a hang up at making progress. What's that mean? Okay. What's that mean? Why don't you ask people you know very well? I mean, nobody knows me better than the missus, my wife, right? Partner, close friend, all that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you the truth, when they say to you, you're not such a pain in the rear as you used to be, then you know you're making some progress on your spiritual path, because this changes behavior. This changes behavior. It really does. It does. You become a nicer person. You become easier to live with. Even though, you may want to run away and sit in a cave in the Himalayas, or break into a Buddhist monastery that's close. It's like, actually, you're easier to live with. So get somebody else to tell you if you're making progress. Or better still, this idea of progress is it's like, there is such a thing as progress, I guess. I'm sure there is. I'm sure, I'll put my hand up. I'm sure I've changed a bit for the better over the decades I've been doing this. I won't go any further than that. Right? But it's like, it's one of these things where, the harder you go at it, the more difficult it becomes. Right? But one of the worst retreats I've ever been, or worst and best meditation retreats I've ever been on, was when I really tried very hard to become enlightened. That was a killer, because that's not the way to do it. Remember, the whole of this is letting go of not attaching to all these funny ideas. It's like, it's always great to have a sort of a background aspiration, but that energy to go and get it, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So, I mean, my advice, Sophie, is just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll work, okay? But above all, just ask other people how you're doing. That's the best I can do there. Next question is the same one again. Okay. What if you regress and become a worse person? I'm sorry about that. How do you know you've regressed? How do you know you've regressed? Right? In which case, doing what you're doing isn't working. I mean, how do you know you've regressed? Is this just sort of a temporary thing? Or maybe this Buddhist path is not for you. I mean, I know, here we are at the Buddhist Society. I'm at home, as you are. But as a good Buddhist, I'd say it's not for everybody. I mean, I believe absolutely and completely that the Dharma is for me. Okay? if in that sense, I have unshakable belief in all of this stuff, right? In Buddha Dharma, right? But I'm not saying it's the best thing for any of the other, how many people are here? 29. We've gone down to any of the other 28 people here. I've no idea whether you should be doing it or not. There again, everybody has to make their own minds up. Now, what I will say is, give everything you do a good try. Do not expect instant enlightenment for 90 minutes meditation this evening, right? It's like it takes a bit longer. It's not like popping a pill. It really is not. And if you do Buddhist practice for a bit, and by the way, let's be clear, you don't have to do a lot of meditation practice to be a good Buddhist, because there are precepts, there's this morality, using a dirty word, there's morality as well. Right? You're practicing generosity and all that sort of stuff. So, but give it a try. And if it's not working for you, try something else. It's like there's no harm in it. I mean, there again, in my experience in prison, is I get guys coming along who just want to see what Buddhism is like, what meditation is like, right? And they'll do it for a little bit and probably find out that it gets you off the wing. It's a bit of change of scenery. But sitting still and not doing anything for 20 minutes, it's a torture, actually. So they decide, I think I'll become a Muslim. So they go along and talk to the Imam for a bit and go to Friday prayers. Or, go to the Christian service or whatever. And it's like, that's fine. I mean, I remember the Dalai Lama is such a remarkable man. And one of the things he actually said was something like, he didn't think it was a great idea that people from a Christian country should get into Buddhism. I mean, when you think about that, that's a totally amazing thing for such a distinguished Buddhist to say. And, maybe this is just rhetoric. But it's very interesting. So maybe this Buddhist path is not for everybody. But please just give it a try. And see what the problems are. It's like this. The theme, as it were, of mindfulness tonight particularly is, it's like this. So what's it like? What's it like to experience one's not getting anywhere? That's interesting, isn't it? The magic isn't working. What's that like? It's like this. It feels like this, doesn't it? Or you do a good deed, it feels like, it feels rather good to do a good deed. So, but there again, I've fallen into the mindfulness groove, as it were. I don't think I can escape, really. So it's like whatever happens, it's like this. It's like this. Maybe pleasant, maybe unpleasant. It's like this. It comes and it goes. Is your best time best time of day to meditate? I don't know. Each one of us here, 28 of us now. We've all got our own schedules, all got stuff to do, other commitments to meet, tasks to do. I don't know what the best time of day is. I know what's good for me. I quite like doing it, when I got up, and wash my face, and all that. And I quite like doing it, actually, now sort of time before I go to bed. But equally, I quite like meditating in the middle of the day. I'm very lucky. I've got a nice garden, and the sun's out, and I love doing walking meditation. I haven't talked about that. I love doing walking meditation, and if I'm sitting at my desk all day doing whatever work I do, take a break. Spend 20 minutes just walking up and down, bringing attention to the sensation of the feet, and then issues like paying attention to lifting the foot up or putting it down. It's like you're noticing these kinds of imbalances in one's practice. I love that sort of thing. So it's like everybody must figure out what's a good time. Nobody here, I don't know, I'm just looking around. I don't see too many shaven heads. So I don't think anybody here is a nun or a monk at the moment, right? And so we've got all sorts of other commitments, right? And Buddhists try and, we try and be nice to the people we live with and meet our other responsibilities. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. So everybody here has to work out the best time of day to meditate and the place to meditate as well. One of the things I really enjoy about going into London on a Thursday for the Thursday meditation class is it is in central London. It is at the back of Victoria Station. It's 1,000,000 miles away from doing a retreat at a Buddhist monastery on the Himalayas, right? It's rush hour at 6:30 back of Victoria Station. It's the rush hour. It's under the flight path, depends on the direction of the wind. It's under the flight path to and from Heathrow, right? Can you meditate with that? And actually, that, in answer to Sophie, how do I know I'm making some progress? Can we meditate under those sorts of conditions, or does it just blow us away? Can I? That's a good test, actually. That's a good test. So you've got to work out what the best time of day is, and maybe the best time of day is, well, it's a bit of a hassle, actually. It's just I find a very good time of day is early on in the day, because then you're kind of like looking ahead, and you can see your commitments, as it were, and you can see the anxiety. I got to meet this deadline. I got to this. I got to that. You just see, oh, okay, that's the way it is. It's like this. And just doing that, step back a little bit from it. Or at the end of the day, very good thing at the end of the day is to put the day to bed, as it were. I mean, I think metta practice, which we can talk about another day. Sending good thoughts to the people we've been with. Or at the start of the day, sending good thoughts to the people in our diaries who are going to meet. These are lovely times to do it. But there again, everybody's got to be their own teacher. So is the effectiveness of mindfulness depending on being a Buddhist? Because I sort of, I don't like this identification, but if I say I'm not a Buddhist, that would be very silly. The Buddhist Society and the Buddhist artifacts and whatnot behind me here. No, I think anybody can practice mindfulness. In fact, secular mindfulness is all the rage. You can't get away from mindfulness. I was in a newsagent's or bookshop. It's got mindful colouring books. I mean, Lord knows what all that's about. But anyway, no. By the way, a lot of Buddhists are a bit sniffy about secular mindfulness. In other words, doing it without the Buddhist trappings, as it were. So there's absolutely no evidence. I'll put it another way: there's plenty of evidence that just doing this 6-week, 8-week, whatever it is, course in mindfulness has huge therapeutic benefits in terms of reducing anxiety, in terms of there's mindfulness-based stress reduction, in terms of reducing the onset of clinical depression. And so people are non-Buddhists, therapists are using mindfulness in their practice. And mindfulness is considered to be quite effective in that sense. But we Buddhists are doing this as part of the Eightfold Path. So some of the things I was with me in the break, some of the things I said then probably would not make a lot of sense to somebody who's, doing it for purely secular purposes. And I think, because so much mindfulness is being taught in a secular context, I find it quite important, actually, when I'm looking after this class, to perhaps emphasize the fact of its Buddhist antecedents. If I was teaching mindfulness secularly, in schools, for example, the last thing I do is to mention its Buddhist antecedents, because everybody else there, all the Christian fundamentalists and the Muslims, they'd go absolutely berserk, wouldn't they? If they thought having this Buddhist practice forced down their throats, you see. So no, but I mean, as I say, I'm doing this, if you like, as well as its therapeutic benefits, which I do not doubt for one moment. I'm doing this, if you like, this for like spiritual reasons. Okay. Any other questions or topics for discussion or anything? The time is rolling on. The dinner gong hasn't gone here yet. Oh, wait. Somebody sent me through one. Oh, no, that's all right. Then it said, isn't being Buddhist an identity of being attached to it? It could well be. You're absolutely right. It's a cheeky follow-up question, but it's a very good one. Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the interesting things to do, this practice, there again, I've learned a lot from doing stuff in prison, because, you're doing a bit of meditation, and somebody sticks their head round the door and tells you, it's like Buddhism's a lot of rubbish, or somebody another Buddhist may say, you're not a very good Buddhist, and it may be true. I don't know, but the more we attach to this idea of being a Buddhist, the less it's helpful. I mean, obviously one is, but it's like you're right. It's strange, isn't it? It's a strange paradox, isn't it? Being Buddhist but not attaching to it. Exactly. Yeah, that's quite important, not to attach to it. It's just important to do it, but not to attach to it. There you go. That's another paradox, you see. Just do it, but don't attach to it. Any other questions? I haven't got any more coming through in the chat. Nobody's asked anything apart from, oh wait, no, that's all right. Well, look, it's lovely to see so many people back here after the summer. If you like this, do come back. And let's say in 2 weeks' time. The class is every Thursday, obviously. I'm here next week, and Barry Subhaddo is there the week after that. And don't forget, there are plenty of other classes at the Buddhist Society that you can join. And I may say, the great advantage of doing mindfulness at the Buddhist Society is we don't charge. If you sign up for a secular mindfulness class, you got to pay something, haven't you? But we do it for free here. There you go. That's quite important in these straitened times. Look, enough from me. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Take care, and who knows, we may meet again next week. Okay. Good night, everybody. Take care.